There you go. Oh no, there you go. The right microphone camera there. Just so you're aware.
Yeah.
And then people will talk there, but it's very tiny text, so I can read it out for you. Don't worry about that. Yeah.
For the blind man sitting beside
For the blind man sitting
Is it
beside
in
me.
Braille?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's not like with hey Alexia, and hey Loz is dad. See, just people saying hi at the minute, and yeah, I mean, you can see some of the writing's big here, right? That kind of thing.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, she's a Newcastle fan as well. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, you have to look there. Like, so if you look, you can see. So that's why you got on the screen, right?
I know where the pictures. It's the writing.
I know, but that's because for me, I'm used to the fact that you have both bits there. That's all. Anyway, hopefully people are doing okay. It's random on Saturday. Normally I do, but more for my dad. This is normally I do Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday nights after work. But
Hopefully not at.
well, I don't get good phone signal from work, so it would be really bad doing it from work. But yeah, hopefully everyone's having a good Saturday. I think Zach's around as well. But we're just going to do some casual, slow ground arena. Do badly, probably. But
You
well,
said looking at me.
what's that?
You said looking at me.
Well, I mean, it's true that since you've been here, you've had some unlucky moments at different times over the past 2 weeks. Thankfully, not wearing this shirt specifically. Wearing your Roma shirt.
Roma away.
70 in a row. That's cool. Yeah, so basically, my parents arrived 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, and no bad luck in it. That's true. No bad luck allowed in the Newcastle case. Yeah, yeah. I won this match on Thursday when you were in when I was in work and you were off to looking around Baltimore.
Right.
Like on my phone, as fast I was, just taking time for it. But yeah, because I mean, yesterday, for example, we got the train and you were wearing a Roma shirt, and the train for the first time ever, and I really mean this, for the first time ever, was late by 2 hours, and it was because the bridge went up, and I've never had that before ever. They've never moved the bridge before, and never would the trains come in, and never taken an hour to realign train tracks, and it was one of the most painful things ever. Did you get away on one of the days that there was something else? I remember you wearing the Roma shirt some other day as well.
Yeah, I was thinking more in Washington, going to get an ice cream, and the police closed the ice cream vans down just as I was getting there.
Yeah.
And they've been there all day.
Yeah. So my parents went to Washington DC yesterday to look around because Washington DC is very close and very cool, and all that kind of thing. Never been before, right?
Never been before.
And looked around the Space Museum. Space Museum was cool. Looked to the White House. Looked for a new house, I guess.
Yeah.
That kind of
I
thing.
don't think he was selling going off the gates.
I mean, yeah, there's a few police there. And my father saw an ice cream seller.
Well, it was all the ones that lined the road.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, initially, during the earlier part of the day, there must have been about 57,000 of them or something of that sort.
Someone got the notice that they should leave, right?
And then effectively later on in the day, when you eventually want to get an ice cream,
yep,
the police decide to turn up.
Yes. Which was unfortunate for you, right?
Yeah. Didn't get the ice cream.
Didn't get the ice cream, no, which is even worse for you, perhaps.
Police woman didn't understand.
Well, I don't think police sometimes have any sense of humour, right?
Well, it was a question of simply asking, does this mean I'm too late for an ice cream? Pardon?
Apparently, yes. Yeah, so yes, you were too late for the ice cream because they had arrested the people selling ice creams. Yes. So my father has no idea about this game, so he's going to mostly just
see if it's better than Eye of the Beholder.
I do have Eye of the Beholder. I did do that a few weeks ago. I did the first 2 levels a few weeks ago. It's a thing we do in between seasons. They have
spiders.
Yeah, I mean, a guy called the Jank who comes every now and again. I think he's probably busy because he's busy on Saturday and weekends. He hates spiders. He basically the literal spiders. No, he didn't get an ice cream afterwards. No, he had pizza when we got home.
No ice cream.
So basically, he got on the train, came back, got stuck on the train for 2 hours as well with me. Then we were too late to go to a restaurant, so we had to get pizza from Domino's instead. So,
Yeah.
there you go.
Welcome to America.
Yeah, so that's
Land of the free.
that's
Except if you want an ice cream,
No.
or a train on time, or to go out at night for a meal.
well. The thing is, I don't know about it is like around you guys because then Humane is up to the north of us here. Alaxi's down in Tennessee. Certainly around here, everything closes by 10. Like even maybe 9:30 sometimes. Right, 9:30 is kind of like already pushing it for some restaurants. Oh no, especially if Friday night's a bit different, but the other nights of the week, go on. But yeah, it was like 8 something by the time we got back here, and then it would take at least another half an hour to get somewhere. And it was like, okay, by the time you get somewhere, you want the last of the food. It doesn't get throw it out if you don't. But it's not. It's more like Final Fantasy 7 through 9, but you don't know Final Fantasy, so
No, we only had Final Fantasy 1.
yeah,
This was on the basis that it was the Final Fantasy.
something like that.
I think the clue was in the name, but
We're not going to go there tonight. I don't know what we're doing for food tonight. Yet. So that's if we're going to go to the restaurant tonight. I don't know. I have no idea what we're going to do tonight, to be honest. One thing that I have always struggled with my parents, especially my father, but both parents, is they don't plan very far ahead for the most part, especially on holiday. I should be planning out of the holiday. Yeah, probably, but I also need to do this before 5 p.m. And if I don't do this before 5 p.m., I just before 5 p.m., right? That's the deadline for the matches each time, right? That's the thing. This is our opponent today.
oh, that's right.
Yeah. We're playing Inquisitor. I don't even know how you pronounce that.
Now, yes.
We were playing that guy. Is he got a better account than us? He has a much worse account than us. Okay, this must be the first time in a long time. So I have about 10 million ish.
Right.
He's got 8.8. Bigger the number than more stuff you have.
Yeah, I guess that on the basis that either the holder started at something like 7.
Yeah. So he's got. Okay, so I'm just seeing what he's missing then, because if he has less stuff than us, I'm trying to work out what things he's missing. Obviously, some of these characters you'd be like, oh yeah, that's Leia from episode 6, for example. Right? But then there are other characters you'd be like, I have no idea who that guy is, like Darth Vader, for example. So, yeah, it's true. If I don't do it before the deadline, the game will break and the rabbits will run away. That's true. You know,
We already have.
yeah, they already have this. I had to leave the country. So, anyway, planning apparently is for losers. So we're just gonna go first. That's just you're matched by 3 people. That's really cool in Romania. So, yeah, so pretty much everyone in the same place, the same game almost. So, but at different levels. So like Alexi plays at a slow level, Romania plays higher than me. He's got much more stuff than I do. So we're gonna try and be very like mildly tactical. I just want to see what he's got set up. He's got. And you can recognize some of the characters like Jabba the Hutt. So Jabba's quite good. I was annoyed by that team too. Okay, we'll do the bottom first. So normally I try and do the bottom first because when it loads, sometimes it just annoys me with the spinning. They have characters here, and here they have ships. So what some people do is they hide better characters behind because you can't see this yet until you beat the front. So it's probably best to beat this bit first to see what he's got hidden behind before we do the other bit. You lost yours today. I'm sorry about that. So we got Padme, First Order, Leia, Darth Malgus, and General Kenobi. Okay, now I'm trying what I've got.
So do you know what players he's got, or just
Yeah. So if I go back to here, if I go back to this to show you back a couple of pages. It's always when I want to go back faster, it takes longer to go back. Right. There you go.
So you don't see them, but do you know?
So this tells me exactly what he has. This is exactly his account. These are all the stuffs that he has, all the characters. So I can work out what he's got. And the usual one that I'm more concerned about is his ships, because there are much fewer ships than there are characters in the game.
But is every single one of them in?
No, but you'll put the top end obviously in.
No, what I mean is, do you have to kill all of them?
No, I only have to kill the 5, 10, 15 teams that he's got set out.
Right.
But he can pick any of his characters he wants. So I know the best he could possibly pick, but I don't know if he's... Because you could go for like a really weak defense because you want to leave everything to use yourself, because you can't use them both on attack and defense. You can use them on one side, which is where the tactical bit comes in, because you have to look at the opponent and go, okay, he's going to set this character to defend with, or this character, and so on. If you're wondering, my father's also keeping track of England playing cricket. I know Americans are probably like, what is cricket? This game is weird. But currently England are playing right now.
That's Australia.
Where are we playing? Are we playing like in New York or something?
Barbados.
Barbados, okay. Which is quite close. How's it going, Adam? People just dropping it in as randomly as they're going on. Okay, so we're going to try and beat the bottom first. And if you look at these teams, you don't know this, but anyway, ones with the little gold in, like this, or like him here, these are the best teams. The best 8 characters in the game have got this little like gold bit here. That's a good way to tell which ones they are. So Leia is always a really good character in the game, and Jenna Master Kenobi, everyone's favorite from episode 3.
Best one in that squad, or
she's one of the best characters in the game. Full stop. This version of Leia, the Leia from episode 6, type thing. She's one of the best characters in the game. So we're going to take her out first, because.
So what is the 2, 1, 2 mean?
Okay, so the 9, the 8, and the 7. That's the level they've got to in total.
Mm-hmm.
The little star thing on the left here. That's some of their abilities can be brought to an extra high level. Yes, he doesn't know the game at all. So I'm just trying to explain little bits that go along here. Enough so that he can make some semblance of sense. Yeah, so these are special abilities. So she's got 6 of them. R2's only got 1. And this is Captain Drogon. He's a rebel soldier, basically, and he's got 2. And then on the right-hand side, this is an ability that only applies in this game mode. So he has one of those.
When he's game mode?
It's in Grand Arena, this specific thing, yeah. So his ability is this one here. You need a law degree, quite frankly, to understand some of these, because they go on and on. But the special bit is the grey bit says, while in Grand Arena, all this extra text also applies.
Mm-hmm.
But in normal matches, just the first bit applies. How's it going, Furby? Then yeah. He is a Star Wars fan, yes. In fact, if you'd ask him questions about Star Wars whilst I'm doing this, if you want, because, just
to tell everybody the story about seeing the premiere.
You can tell them any stories you want about Star Wars, especially because they love Star Wars.
Yes, seeing the Star Wars premiere of what is now known as Star Wars 4, or Star Wars 2 at the time, Leicester Square in London, and then getting stuck in London for the night without anywhere to sleep, because I was a student at the time and we hadn't planned on or made plans of how to get back afterwards.
I wasn't there. Don't look at me. I was like another 10 years away from being born at this point, or something like that.
Just wandering around London nightclubs.
I mean, the other bit is you're not planning either. Yeah, exactly. Not planning either then. No comment. How did you feel to see the movie at the time?
Excellent, in the sense of it was one of those things where it's moments in time. Another one back then for that particular time was Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
It just summed up the time. For Saturday Night Fever in particular, it was the music, the acting, what it was about. For Star Wars, it was just that special film, which only afterwards you start finding out wasn't actually planned to be such a super film.
Well, the thing is, I guess the thing for someone like me is I always find it weird, because at the time Star Wars must have been such a weird thing, right? Because it was crazy special effects that even then were massively ahead of the time. It was a space opera, which is already quite crazy, like Dune, I guess the book is a similar kind of thing. It was out of nowhere. It was episode 4.
Well, it was the second one made, but it was episode 4, which was the weird thing in the sense of you didn't actually start the
the thing is,
series at the beginning.
I can imagine it being super weird coming in to see like a film where it's like we're not even making the first film.
3.
Oh, the first 3. Like this is
we started. It would be number 5.
I was already thinking it was number 5. But it's like it's like you started at like this number here. What's going on? I can imagine that must have been super weird. I don't quite understand how it became so successful initially. We're speaking of on Leia here, just but at the side, yeah. There we go.
Everybody against her.
It's because I beat the other two whilst you were regaling people with your story of episode 5, not episode 4.
I wasn't sure if that was called bullying or not. But
I mean, it was a little bit, but it's really cool. So he's attacking at the same time in wherever he is in the world right now. So he is also attacking now. So we're going to see his score go up as we go up. So
Right.
we'll see how we do.
obviously winning.
Wait a minute, but that's how we need in one fight. We've got an hour and something to do the match point, so
Right.
it won't take us that long. But we have that much
It's a
time.
marathon, not a sprint.
It indeed, yes, it is a marathon. That's fun. Have you kept up with? Yeah, I was gonna say. So do you watch? I guess the current Star Wars things. Like, how do you?
No, not me.
I was gonna say Mandalorian.
Well, Mandalorian, yes. But in the sense that the first 3 films made were brilliant. And so that'd be 4, 5, and 6. And from that point of view, have in my mind partly been spoiled when they've remastered them, because you actually get some characters in that weren't actually in the film, because they didn't have the technology at the time to be able to do it. In particular, when they go into the town.
Han shot first. Yes, indeed, he did.
You go into the town, you didn't have half those characters in the film. They were more sort of human-like looking.
Well, it's not Jabba the Hutt that is the crazy one in particular, right? Because Jabba in episodes 4, 5, 6 the first time does look pretty fake, right? If we're being honest about it. But then Jabba nowadays.
But again, it's all a question of time in the sense of at the time of 4, 5, 6.
Oh, that's right. It's true.
Yes, he didn't look lifelike, but because it was that level at that particular time, or even pushing the level at that particular time, it was really enough.
Yeah.
And from that point of view, in one sense, it just gives it a bit more genuineness.
Heather just messaged me. That's all about that. There's a story about my sister. In a second, I could tell.
And then we had the other ones being made afterwards, but again, they just seemed to deteriorate in standard. They were never as good as the first 3 made. Ridiculous parts where you get somebody becoming a super Jedi Knight in sort of 37.5 seconds.
So the good thing for you is firstly that she's on defense because she's a great defensive character, so I don't have her on attack, so that's okay. We have to use Rey. But secondly, as I pointed to you, I'm not a massive fan of Rey. I don't particularly like Rey that much. I think that that might be a little harsh, but the big issue I have with her, not with her, but with people about her, is that Luke Skywalker does a similar thing in episode 5 and 6. He doesn't. It's not that dissimilar, you know.
It was a question of 1 minute I can't fight Han Solo's son. Well, next time I'm sort of
Han Solo's son, by the way, there he is there. Han Solo's son.
kicking his backside because I don't know why I just suddenly can't.
I mean,
it just again in films in particular, and they do it better in the books because they've got more pages to do it and time.
Yeah.
You've got to develop and build everything at the right speed, and they don't develop there at the right speed.
I mean, it's difficult though because throughout a lot of their stuff, they have done the same thing. Like I know Luke, for as much as we did like Luke Skywalker, they weren't great with him either. Maybe better than Rey, but it was still like he was on Dagobah for 3 days.
Yeah, but
3 days.
He went away and it was concentrated.
Yeah, but it was like he went to America and back again. That was half the journey. Half the time was him flying between the 2 places.
But it was accepted that he wasn't the finished bee's knees when he left.
Do you know what that means? The American.
It wasn't the finished article.
Yeah, you have to remember some of the things we say don't translate over always. Oh, we do too. Okay, that's fine. Some of the phrases I don't know whether people in America use them or not, so really, they use bees knees as well. Yeah.
On the shows we're talking about after the 9 films.
Hey, fan. Buenos in Argentina. Oh, just speaking of Rey, the guy has lost a match against Rey and has stopped attacking for now because he beat my first 3 teams and then now he can't get through Rey. So there we go. To be fair, Star Wars itself has better female characters. Both Leia and Ahsoka are both very good female characters. Right? I love Ahsoka and the way they've developed her more in the cartoons than in the films and stuff.
She was.
Oh, we're going to use her in a second, so you're going to find out. But Ahsoka's a great example of a female character that's strong. But yeah, there she's there. She goes from like a teenager through to like an adult. and goes from someone who's unsure of themselves progressively through to someone who knows what they're doing and is confident in someone. Ray is written badly, and I think she is written badly. I just think that some of the original trilogy is also not as well written as we think because we look back at it nostalgically, perhaps.
Well,
sometimes.
Again, for me, though, it's not so much badly written. I mean, I agree with that point.
Yeah, we've got Luke here now.
Sarah Connor, for example, it's the acting.
Well, yeah, it doesn't help as well to depict a bad actress. Or not bad, but not a great actress.
And then combine it with, what's his face, who was...
Kyber.
No, the one who was pretending he was going to be Darth Vader in the future.
Well, Hayden Christensen, there was about 10 years earlier, though. It's a bit different.
Yeah, but at the same point, though, in the sense of he spoiled the role because, for me, he was such a bad actor. You jump back to the original trilogy, and you've got a different level. I mean, none of... Well, I'm saying none. I think Harrison was. But,
Harrison Ford was,
yeah. But none of the others were really famous, big stars.
Yeah.
It should have really been a B-level movie level.
I mean, you said that, but what I would guess I'd say this is how many things has so this is Jedi thing, finding some Sith. How many things has Mark Hamill been in after Star Wars, or aside from Star Wars?
No, I did more question of how many things was he in before Star Wars.
Before, or after, I'm just saying, but even afterwards, he wasn't in that many things.
He didn't have to be afterwards.
Didn't have to be.
Well, there's something else. There's another one I'm trying to think of.
Carrie Fisher.
No, I was thinking more
Something
completely different. Where they made the one film, and because it was so successful, they've never had to do anything since. And what's the face? The pretty with names.
I shouldn't. Oh, that's fine. I just want ability there. That's fine. We're going to win this fight anyway, but I did the wrong thing there. I wasn't paying attention. Cal Kestis. He's from the computer games. Cal Kestis. He's just going to kill everybody himself. But it's. I mean, you said that though, but then as you point out, the Mandalorian.
Whoever did Leia.
Shakespeare.
No, as in the character.
Leia.
Carrie
Fisher.
Yeah, her. Later find out she's as mad as a hatter.
Oh yeah, she's great. Oh, she was great, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, George Lucas has a very creative mind, but he's not the best script writer. I mean, the thing about 4, 5, 6 is it's one of those things where there's still some bits in there where I'm like, the dialogue is not the best in some places. It's a bit wooden if you really go. And yes, the actors helped a lot being good actors for some of it. But it's true they also had funny lines. But then I would say the same about episodes 1, 2, 3 that 1 is not as good as 2 and 3, and 3 would be the best of the original ones, of those original 3. But there are some really funny lines that are really like ironic lines as well that he's written in there, really well timed.
Well, there's the two, I think, the most famous bits is the one, I'm thinking of the wrong film now.
I don't know which film.
I was thinking of Flash Gordon.
Oh, Flash Gordon. Well, Flash Gordon's a whole other kettle of fish, right? Because that is a different. Who's one for here on her own.
But no, but actually, it did apply in Star Wars where Han Solo was being crystallized or whatever it was.
Carbonite.
Yeah, that's it.
He's obviously the details man.
And it was a question of, Hans, I love you. I know.
I mean, on one level, that could be construed as a very insulting way of talking to somebody, right?
But you've got to have the right character.
Oh no, I agree
completely. Get away with
you completely have to have the right character to do that. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and then in a film or two later on, it just gets reversed, and she's able to do it back to him.
Yeah. It was a Ford. It was a Ford ad.
Yeah. But it's amazing Harrison Ford how many good films he's been in.
That was from the Data Crime. Sorry, I didn't pay attention. They have this. Basically, the characters as aside, they have these things which are special modifiers, and I didn't pay attention to what the modifier was. Which he has all of this extra, this legalistic text added onto the side of the team, which I wasn't paying attention to. Yeah, Harrison Ford's great. Obviously,
starting off with American Graffiti.
I mean, I thought you were going to say Indiana Jones, obviously. I mean,
but American Graffiti was the one that set him off because I think, if I remember rightly, the story he started off as a stuntman or something of that sort. He was then just brought in to do a bit part role. and was so good at it, it just continued from there.
I hate this match. We're going to do this match, but I hate this match. This one's one of my least favourite matches you can do. Identical teams, which means that we're going to do identical things to each other in a second. I didn't even mind because he's going to do the same move to her. Yeah. Then she's going to do that. I'm going to do that, right? And so we're basically just doing the same thing as each other here.
So why didn't you do that first?
Because they've got different speeds. Because modifiers that they put on them. So you pick which characters you want to be faster or not, and sometimes sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. It's whether you've got the right characters in the right order. Okay, and then so now it's just a question of whether my characters are slightly better than his characters, and we're going to find out. His Ahsoka is faster than mine, but mine Kenobi's faster than his. So better for worse.
Is there any healing in it?
Yes. For that one, there heals, but he's got to wait 2 turns before he can use it again. Unfortunately, but he's piling in on my Kenobi, whereas I'm piling in on his Ahsoka, and I want to get rid of her first because that's a much better usage of my time here in inverted commas. But yeah, that's the healing there, so I can just do this. So now she's invincible for a turn. See, so that didn't do any damage.
So does he see you doing that or what?
The AI is pretty stupid, quite frankly. Is this avoidable or not? Yeah, can't be rated. Yeah, that's fine. I'll do that then. Yeah, the AI is not the most intelligent, if we're being honest about it. But that's a good thing because the people complained. They used to have quite clever AI, and people complained because you used to lose a lot to it. We can answer that question in a second. I like to. Let me just. Yeah, but his character is slightly faster here, which is a little annoying. Which is why I'm getting some pain here. Or you can answer your question if you want to.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a question of introducing, but when you have kids, they just basically get stuck in your world to a certain extent.
I mean, as I say, if Maestro's around, my father did introduce me indirectly to Thrawn. You might not remember this at all, but the Star Wars books, there we go, we were just talking. Now we should be okay. Because at the time, obviously, it was the early 90s, right? And at that point there wasn't a lot going on in terms of Star Wars because there was the films in the 70s, 80s, or the early 80s, and then the next films were 99 onwards. So there's a gap there, and that's when books were really big for Star Wars before Disney bought out and then did episodes 1 through 3. And like the Thrawn books, especially, I remember them being great. Books, you probably don't remember them, but they're brilliantly written, and they were part of what got me into actually Star Wars more than anything else. Because I remember actually, you're gonna find this funny. We always used to be video player then, tape player. We had one of those, and we had episode 5 and 6 on tape. We didn't have episode 4. No. So for years, I didn't even see episode 4 until it got re-released in 95, 96, whenever the 10th or 20th anniversary was. I can't remember whatever. The mid 90s, they re-released episodes 4, 5, 6 in X years between the original bit. They're going to do about Newcastle in a second. And that re-release was the first time I saw episode 4 randomly because we only had 5 and 6 on tape.
That would have seen a sort of Christmas, Easter sort of job on.
Probably something like that. Yeah, it was just weird things you remember as a child, right? That stick out. But yeah, how do you feel about Newcastle this past season?
Slightly disappointing, but expected.
You should say first, Fernan, what team do you support? That's probably what you should say.
What team do you support?
That's what Alexis talking about Star Wars there. Yes. Let me see which one to go on next. I'm bouncing around a team here. Yeah, Manchester City.
Yes. Innocent of 1 and guilty of 114.
Yeah. So Alexis supports Newcastle as well.
Essentially disappointing on the basis we didn't get into Europe, albeit because Man City couldn't beat Man United in the FA Cup final. But it wasn't too surprising that we dropped from 4th on the basis of we are still a work in project. Secondly, the more intense games this season with the Champions League, which most of the team, if not all of the team, had never come across that level before. Thirdly, the number of injuries we got. And fourth, because of the fact that we are or were starting at such a low base, when the Saudis took over. We've still got a heck of a distance to go. And the fact that too many footballers these days seems happy to sit on, for argument's sake, Man City's bench, like Grealish, and then claim that they won the Champions League. Champions League,
Well,
Premier
last
League.
season. Well, no, to be fair to him, last season he played pretty well, actually, Grealish. Like, he was instrumental last season in them doing well. This season, this season's different. And he can't really claim anything. But last season he was pretty instrumental.
But no, just using Grealish as an example, in the sense that there's too many players quite happy to sit on a bench, come up sort of for 20 games during the season, play the last 15 minutes, and then pretend they've won the Premier League. Where they haven't. Because Man City were 3-0 up at the time they came on, or 2-0 up.
This is probably going to go bad in a second here. Just wait, when he takes a turn, this might hurt. Yeah. that was bad. You where things are badly timed, unfortunately, you know?
But again, with not having the Champions League next season, and to a certain extent Europe, should be better next season.
That's bad.
And how do you feel about Man City and the Chargers?
We're saying they fell off. Grealish fell off. He failed.
Well, Grealish was over a short pony in the first place. Well, he is, in the sense of he falls down too easy. He wins free kicks. No, he's diving and he's falling down too much. Not just Grealish. I mean, Newcastle got players like that, like Almiron. Every team's got that. But
people say that about Anthony Gordon, to be honest.
But effectively paying 100 million for Grealish was ludicrous. Especially when he's not then going to be Kevin De Bruyne.
But this has gone well so far. This match has gone horribly right now.
Isn't Alvarez going to be leaving though, and Haaland the one that's staying? I think that's what I was reading just the other day, in the sense of Alvarez supposed to be in possible talks.
Making a mess of this fight here. Just in the background. Sorry. I didn't actually read any of this.
Yeah, you win or lose on.
I killed one of them. So there's only two left. So I go, it's because I didn't read this. I didn't realize modifiers. Again, the whole text. Like, if I was doing this on my own without you around, I'd probably read it more carefully. So, but I'm just like, whatever, just do whatever. It's fine. It doesn't matter that much in the whole scheme of my life. Let's just do. Yeah, not a fan of Han. Alvarez might leave.
I mean, for me, Haaland doesn't bring much to the team except goals.
Isn't that a good thing?
And by heavens, does he bring a lot of goals with him?
I know, that's what I mean. Isn't that a good thing?
Yeah. I was never somebody who needed 11 players to give 100%. Because some players are better when they're not giving 100% because they do their job better. I mean, back in the day for me, for Newcastle, it was Supermac. He used to stand on the halfway line, watch everybody going backwards, might come back for the corners, but nothing else. Wouldn't track back. But when he was going forward...
You might need to explain who that is.
Malcolm McDonald, Supermac.
I was going to say, if you say a name of a player from like 1975, they're going to be like, who is this? Yeah.
Just one of the best centre forwards Newcastle had at the time.
Yeah, made a complete hash of that fight. Okay, anyway. Fine. I was trying to do matches that I thought would be easy, that I like in the right order and making this.
So who takes over from Guardiola though?
Okay, so who do you think? Who did you mention your favourite Newcastle players are at the minute?
Well, in regard to Bruno, I can't see him going. He's made if Madrid come in and pay the trigger, which is supposed to be £100 million, and will obviously offer him a stacked load than he's getting at Newcastle, I can see him going. The only teams likely to be able to do that in England would be Man City and Arsenal. Can't really see him fitting into Man City's team. Essentially, the reverse question is who you're going to drop.
Well, yeah.
I mean, you could possibly say De Bruyne's going.
I mean, he's 32, De Bruyne now.
But I can't see Bruno getting into Man City's team. And at Arsenal, no, I can't really.
I mean, I can see Arsenal affording him. That's the difference. I don't think they can actually afford Bruno because he's going to cost him so much money.
Yeah. So for me, I would be anticipating / hoping that Bruno stops, Isaac stops. Isaac, in my mind, is our best player at the minute. He is just pure class. Who's the previous Swedish striker?
Oh,
Zlatan.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, yeah.
Yeah, he's of that sort of ilk.
Yeah, Isaac is very good. I'll give you that. He's ridiculously good.
But he's not going because Newcastle have put a price tag of 183 million on him. So
I wonder who works that out. 183 million. That's a very specific number to be like, you know.
I suppose with Haaland, it's really that top level game which you're going to get 1 or 2 or 3 times a season, but it's the important 1 or 2 or 3 times a season. And from that point of view, it's yeah.
Oh, good. I should be able to get to her now because she has this here now on her, which makes it much easier to kill her.
Which means
It's called Death Mark. It basically means that she gets excessively. Oh, it's your phone. Because she gets more damage dealt to her. Although I think she just cleansed it. It should make it easier to kill her anyway. He says as they then struggle to kill her. She's just taken everything. But yeah, oh, there you go. Finally, she's dead.
I suppose on the Man City front, ignoring the 115 charges, more question of does anyone genuinely believe that it's not a distraction taking the Premier League to court on?
I mean, to be clear, these people they might not have heard about that bit because they're not from English. So you might have to explain why.
Right.
What exactly is going on for that?
Because it all started with the Saudis taking over Newcastle, and the fact the number of new roles being brought in from a Newcastle's perception to stop Newcastle growing to be able to take on the top six, the big six as they're supposed to be called, including it's the associated partner sponsors. So effectively, any company who are connected legally to the owners, then essentially the Premier League have to veto and vet any such arrangement, and you can't get some Saudi company for Newcastle coming along and sponsoring Newcastle to £1 million per seat, and it's all got to be market value. And Man City are effectively taking on the Premier League because Man City will have the ability to bring in associated companies who will be able to sponsor and provide more money.
Yeah.
But it's somewhat ironic that they're doing it at the time when it's all beginning to come to a head with regard to the 115 charges.
Well, I thought the charges were only going to be heard at like
November.
Yeah, like in the middle of next season. So basically, for anyone who doesn't know, Manchester City have been accused of a bunch of charges from maybe the mid 2010s, like 12, 13, 14, that kind of thing, of a bunch of, I guess, financial
mismanagement in the sense of not correctly disclosing information to the Premier League.
Yeah.
And trying to hide deals in the books by giving false information about the deals. From that point of view, not cooperating with the Premier League in its investigation by continuing to hide the arrangements. And it's the innocent until proven guilty, but then people naturally will think there's that many charges. I can't be just bringing that many charges on a whim. They must have something. And my guess is they probably do. But it's then a question of how much is that going to impact.
Yeah, but someone just doesn't keep dying. It's like that guy kept not dying, and he keeps coming back to life, and he's messing with my team here. This person, Finn, has survived twice. He's going to kill that guy now. yeah, this team might lose because he survived twice when he was supposed to die. Which is a very annoying thing when that happens. But yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
But ultimately, it's a question of Man City should really be demoted if they're found guilty. Big if. But the feeling is, because again, the perception as it happened with Newcastle is that the Premier League will come to some sort of deal where there's an agreed outcome that everybody's not happy with but will live with. Because with Newcastle, the takeover was never going to go through until I think Newcastle brought in a barrister or lawyer and then started going heavy with the threats to the Premier League.
Oh, that's a good point. So you may need to give me advice. Yeah, I just realized that Eddie Connor's that's stopping me from winning. Okay, that's why he didn't die twice. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize that they had this modifier on here.
Yeah.
Which means they don't die probably.
Or at all.
Yeah. Okay, you think of a baiting to fight Zori for this in a second.
But from a City fan's point of view, how do you take it in the sense of whether merited or not, he's going to throw a taint on all the trophies that have been won, the Premier Leagues? That's not to say, in reality, probably most of the teams that have won the Premier League previously haven't done something similar themselves, but just haven't been caught doing something similar themselves. Because there's no difference in football now to the 80s, to the 70s, to the 60s, to the 1920s, where effectively the richest clubs usually
Which is the scale of the riches, though, right? That's the thing.
Well, it's not the scale of the riches, it's the disproportion between the haves and the have-nots. It's the difference that's growing to such an extent that it's not going to be breached, which is the sad thing for football. Yeah, it is like a mob in the sense of there's a newspaper in England called The Guardian, and they used to do an article in the sports section once every month, which summed up briefly in about 3 or 4 sentences different stories around Europe about football, which included Romanian owners who would be threatening referees with guns. It would include French owners running the football clubs from prison, and so on. And it just did it in a slightly humorous way. The sad thing is they stopped doing it, but it's still there on the website if you look back for it.
Depends how you define humorous, because it was pretty sad, some of the stories in some respects, right?
It's a sort of cynical humour, to be quite honest, in the sense of not a literal example, but an example in principle where, say, a black player was being abused by the crowd in a game in Russia, and he would walk off the pitch, and then this Guardian thing would have a little article saying so-and-so player walked off the pitch because of this reason, was fined €100,000. And then the next article would be a club in Italy who've been found guilty of allowing its fans to shout racial abuse to the opposition, fined €20,000.
I mean, I'm not to be harsh, but Italy's pretty bad for that. Especially Spain as well, but Italy's pretty bad for that. The whole, we're going to fine you a teeny bit for doing something really bad, quite frankly.
Well, it's not so much a tiny bit, it's more a question of in proportion to what you're punishing somebody else for. I mean, that's an example in principle, but it literally was that sort of scale, where the player was getting this horrific abuse, and then he was the one that was being fined for walking off the pitch.
It's good to see you finally got a head off right now.
Right.
The Manchester City fan.
Oh, ciao for now.
He's from Argentina, so I guess it would be adios, but still. We'll go with ciao.
Well, in Italy I say ciao for all right.
I know, but that's because in Italy you are, well...
That Englishman abroad.
Yeah, it's something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. we're doing okay. We're making mistakes because we're not concentrating very well. But yeah, we're going okay. We're slowly working our way through these teams. But you know, that's annoying me right now. How is it?
Not quite a villa per se, but it's exactly what we wanted. It's, I mean, in comparison to what Lawrence has here, it's chalk and cheese, but it's never meant to be cheese and cheese, in the sense that it's an Italian village which time-wise is about 1 hour outside of Rome, as the car drives.
What? I can't. I'm gonna have to do. I can't do those things at the same time here. Right? Can you give me 1 minute?
And it's an old village where most of the young people have left because they wanted a job and they've gone into Rome or some nearby bigger town. But it's on a mountain, and it's on the edge of the mountain, and it's in pretty good nick, and it's got beautiful views.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the neighbours are fantastic. I mean, again, as Lawrence was saying, if you take Italy generally, it's a question of they are so behind in certain aspects, equality issues, this sort of thing. It's still a very much male-dominated society.
Well, thank you for following, Mickey. Mikey. I pronounced it. I sound really bad. I'm not. How do you pronounce this guy's name?
But in other respects, on a one-to-one thing, absolutely lovely people, friendly.
Also from Newcastle. Right. I'm going to put this on order. I'm just give me 1 second. I'm going to find out what the question was. But they will win despite hopefully. Well, I'm not getting up. But just give me 1 second.
I'll just change this so that we win. Yeah. Yeah, also from Newcastle. But it's the people that make it, as well as the weather, as well as the scenery, and sadly, one of the things that my wife and I still do is watch YouTube videos of estate agent type people showing you around villas in Italy, ranging from the $500,000 up to the €3.5 million, which would be roughly the same-ish in dollars. Not with any intention of ever buying any of them, because we don't have quite that sort of money. But just seeing what you can get for your money if you're that well off. And with the usual, when you watch enough of them, start turning around and saying things along the lines of, I wouldn't pay that much. No, I would never pay €1.5 million for that property. As if you would ever have the money to pay €1.5 million for that other property. Yeah, true. In the sense of my wife and I have both said if we ever win the lottery in the UK, which would usually potentially get you £2 to £3 to £4 million, we still wouldn't change what we've got for anything better. Mainly because of the people, because the villa's worth 1.5 to 3.5 million. They're out on their own. They're away from the people. You're not next to somebody. One of the things I would say is if you ever go anywhere, mix with the people from that area. It's the only way you'll find out about people is talking to them. And if you're sitting in a villa 5 miles away from the nearest village, you're never going to meet them, you're never going to talk to them.
Sometimes, you know. There you go.
Probably nothing important.
Nothing important, no. That's a good. The game is a lot of fun, Micey. That's for sure. Just give me a second to run up and down the stairs.
Should be fitter than that.
It's a few
I
stairs.
know you're getting on now.
Uh-huh. Okay, let me just check who's at the back. He's got hiding here. Oh, okay, that's fine. Basically, if they don't have the kind of blue or red colorful bit around, they're lower level. So they're lower
Right.
level characters.
Right.
Because sometimes I was trying to work out whether you had a good team as the back or bad teams as the back.
So you got through to the back yet?
Doesn't make me feel old. I feel younger than I have for a long time. I just feel like healthier and so on more recently.
It's a in the head concept anyway.
What did you about that team? Oh. But
I would swear blind, I don't think any differently to the way I used to think when I was 18, 19, 20.
although one argues maybe you should a little bit about some
No,
things.
no. Your mum might argue that I should. Yeah.
Okay,
Not somebody, your mum.
it's true.
Mum, mummy, mum, depending on which country you come from.
I suppose mother.
Yeah.
All right, let's just this one first. Would you do some of the easier teams, right? Just to like work out what we have left to do the last couple at the top. Mother, yeah, something like that.
So what's that doing?
What's what doing?
What you just flicked.
Okay, so I was just flicking just to sort out just for characters with the Empire, because I know what I want to do is this character with her team. She's from a computer game specifically.
So is that picking your team too?
Yeah. So I looked at this and I'm like, well, that's Mon Mothma, who's from the films. Cal Katarn's from a game. He dies in episode 4, I think, actually, that guy there. So I'm just like, I know that this team fights well against this team. It's more just like a rock, paper, scissors, knowing which way some of them go. But because normally it's 5v5 rather than 3v3, these matches are a bit harder to gauge because we don't practice them very often. 5v5 is the standard game mode, but 3v3 is a bit more of like a weird one. Do you have any particularly enjoyable experiences in the States?
Yes. It's hard to say what order. I mean, in general, the first thing I would say is the States has been a lot more fun and a lot more enjoyable in lots of ways than I was anticipating or expecting. First time I've ever been to the States, so to a certain extent, not really having too much of an idea as to what to expect. But I think just about everything, it's exceeded expectations.
There you go.
Gettysburg, which we visited, was a fascinating experience. Actually, genning up, as Lawrence might have mentioned or said or will confirm, was also an interesting concept on the basis of finding out about the Civil War and finding that when we talk about the South versus the North, the South actually comes a fair bit further north than South should really be. Never having sort of studied that period of time in American history, I hadn't realised that some of the fights at Gettysburg were actually taking place north of Washington. But going to Gettysburg was really enjoyable. But I think the best one was yesterday when we went to Washington and the Space Museum. In the end, we didn't actually do it justice because for me, the Space Museum, you could be there all day.
I think Washington, you can be there all day, like all week. Washington alone, let alone.
So to a certain extent, we skimped some of the parts, just sort of quickly looking and glancing. But there were some fascinating things, and to a certain extent, sort of reliving history, having lived through it the first time round only as a little kid. So, for example, there's a section about the moon landing, and it starts off with a video thing which has Kennedy's speech about putting a man on the moon before the end of the decade. And then it does the film year by year for
So someone recorded the whole film.
8 minutes. Yeah. And from that point of view, I was 3 in '61, so I can't remember that bit. But as it goes through the decade, you begin to remember certain things because it didn't just deal with the space part of 62, 63, 64. It was also telling you the other bits that were going on in relation to America at that time or around the world. So, for example, Nelson Mandela being locked up. and then the Beatles coming to America and essentially conquering America, colour TV coming in, and then including the other side of it in the sense of John F. Kennedy being assassinated.
British invasion.
Yeah, Stones.
Where's
the
Zach when
Beatles.
you need him? Zach would be loving this right now.
Yeah, well, you got the Stones, the Beatles. You had Herman's Hermits. Trying to think of the other ones, the Who, and then there was some other ones as well, but I can't remember them off the top of my head for the British invasion. But then coming through to landing on the moon, and was it something he thought of off the top of his head, or was it something that he planned in regard to one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind?
I'm just gonna try and time all the abilities at once here. I need to get everything lined up here for this one. Yeah, I might check my phone in a second if Zach messaged on the other messenger type and see if he did. Yeah, he was gonna call you Mr. Red Codington Senior. He's funny. Yeah,
there is the Neil Armstrong will say that he thought of that off the top of his head, but there are others who will say, and I think it's a relation of his, that he said, "What do you think this sounds like?" before he left.
Well, he's always going to say that. Okay, that's their thing. Okay.
If you did think of it off the top of his head, that's one humdinger of a thing to think of.
That's true. Can we do that?
Which tends to suggest that it wasn't off the top of his head, it was more along the lines of pre-prepared, but even so, someone just didn't have a script writer.
Wasted the timing here for this. No, you're fine. I'm just like, I didn't quite get that lined up again. I was like, really? Because he basically keeps hiding every so often, and I keep missing when he's open and when he's not hiding. And I just keep hitting her in the face instead, which is not helping me very much right now. It doesn't seem like this team's going to do this. Sad times. Because she basically keeps generating her shield every time you hit her. More than I can kick through it quickly. So I need to stand up. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'd be over... Well, I mean, I think everyone would be, hopefully.
Yeah.
I mean...
The worst thing we ever did as a human species...
You're an American, so there's more American things, I guess.
Yeah, well, the Russians...
As I know what you're going to say next.
Yeah, the Russians quit at the same time, just about, is to stop going into space. We should have continued doing that. To get all the shuttle and all that garbage about flying around the Earth and so forth. We should have been aiming for Mars before now. We should have been building and landing people to live on the moon by now.
Just need him to take it turn.
Because you're not going to find a solution to the environmental issues and problems on this planet.
Well, we might do if we, stop doing some things, I guess.
At least for me, it's a question of Dan Brown. I've forgotten which book it was.
Dan Brown's not the best person to reference in science books.
There is a logic to it, in the sense of if you look at some of the information in there, in regard to the growth of mankind or the growth of the human population on the planet.
Yeah. Inferno.
We are going to get to a stage where the Earth is just incapable of supporting humans because there's too many. And the only way to avoid that would be to be...
Yeah, but at the same time, you said that, but you look at America and how much space there is. Like, you've driven around a bunch. You see how spaced out everything is in America. Like, Australia, which I've been to many years ago, is, let me draw this. America compared to Australia, and Australia, they're really spacious. We don't fill half these countries that we could do, but we fill other countries massively.
But there's a reason we don't fill parts of it.
I mean, because around here, not so much.
Yeah. But in Australia, you've got a stinking big desert.
Yeah.
You're not going to populate the desert.
Yeah, but which planet are you going to populate that's not as bad as a desert?
Well, it's not just a question of populating, it's a question of populating, investigating, finding, and then exploring and finding out more new information. It's like wartime, in the sense of science progresses faster during wartime.
It's true, who would want to populate Australia anyway?
Yeah. Well, we sent our convicts there, and started coming back and beating us at cricket by the look of it.
And I mean, I'm sure you'd be keeping track of this. Um,
Yeah, we're way behind them. 83 forward after 9.
England are not half the cricket team they were a few years ago, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sad. Let's use Jedi here.
But it would have been the same with space, in the sense of the number of spin-offs scientifically for the benefit of mankind.
Oh, I know,
space.
but I'm just saying that there's a lot of things we could do on the planet too that we just kind of pretend or avoid doing at the minute because we say they're too expensive. Like the water, right? We talked about this the other day. Like we've explored like a quarter of all the water in the Earth. I mean, there's so much more out there that we could just go and explore. Or we should explore, quite frankly.
Or should explore and then disrupt that eco-environment.
Well, your question is going to be, do you think it's better or easier to explore underwater or in space? I mean, you've got to imagine it's going to be easier to explore underwater than in space, because at least in water, yeah, Flint would like some water. You've probably not heard of Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan has not had clean water for 10 years. I think is it 10 years, Alexia? I want to say it's 10 years. It's that kind of thing. Basically, there was Legionnaire's disease in the piping from lead and so on, and
it's a town.
Yeah, a town, yeah, and basically, it took them years and years and years to build it back again and recover it. Literal years and years and years.
And you're wanting to send humans down deep into the water to...
Yeah, but the point is we can't even send people to space. I mean, we've got to give people water in a town in Michigan, right? So what are we going to do about these other places, you know?
How many conspiracist theorists do we have?
I mean, you're all full of conspiracy theories, so I'll try to avoid that.
No, I'm just thinking that there are the people who basically say we didn't have the technology and ability to get to the moon in 1969 and that we never actually made it.
I mean, mobile phones exist, right? And stuff like that. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to do that kind of technology.
In the sense of, if you look at it now as to how difficult it is still to do now, and without all of the advances in technology from 69 to now,
yeah,
how on earth could we have done it then? Is the argument. I've yet to find any conspiratorial theory which actually stands up to investigation.
There you go. That tells you what Tennessee is like. No offense, Alexia, but
a relation or just somebody you met?
I think it was a restaurant, if I remember correctly. I'm just like slowly. Oh, there you go. Slowly running through these things right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder why you didn't return to that restaurant. Who knows?
Yes. People who just fall off the end of the planet.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, I'm sure that the Earth is. I mean, the problem with people like that though is you can't argue with them. No, you can't tell them they're wrong because they have read such a thing that tells them that they're right. You know.
But that's the problem with the internet.
It is on the internet.
In the sense of there's too many people able to put things onto the internet which sound intelligent, which sound authoritative.
Especially with AI now, you can AI anything, right? To make it look realistic, like paper titles or pictures or whatever. You can generate pictures to make of almost anything you want now, right? And it just, yeah, it's just sad, to be honest.
And then essentially that gives them support in the sense that if you're one in a big town and you're all by yourself, somebody might convince you that you're wrong. But if there's another 1,000 towns on the rest of the planet who've also got a village idiot, then essentially you've got another 999 or 1,000 village idiots to support you.
Yeah. This seems actually working quite well. I've not used it before. Character mill. Queen Amidala from episode 1. You know, Padme.
Yeah.
Never used her before. She just came out with the week. Never used her, so actually the first time. Worked pretty well. She's supposed to be a very good character, but I have yet to actually have a chance to use her in a competitive match. That's all. Let's use the Mando here. Why not? Okay, so we Mando here. She's Alexis from Michigan. Well, that's the thing is the entire subreddit. It's like entire groups of people now are just
I suppose when you say you're from the north, again, just going back to the Civil War, could still put you in the south.
I'm not.
My experience.
Okay, so I'll use. I'm just going to my head. I'll use that there. We'll try and okay, that's fine. So I'll use Mando down here. Easiest way to get rid of this mess. Right, so if we do this, it's top to finish off.
Too many people wanting to win the village elite competition.
I had to use where is she? Or saying Grief Karga, Mando.
So we'll see. I've heard of the Mandalorian.
Grief Karga is Mando's friend in the TV series.
Doesn't look like it.
Like him. This guy here, Carl Weathers, the actor, Carl Weathers. she's in the Clone Wars TV series, or saying. Very fun character, but a very funny character. Yeah. Well, it's true. There's a lot of people. Oh my. Okay, see, there you go. So Mando does have one special ability that after he gets souped a bit, he instantly kills somebody, no matter what they do.
Right.
Just like he does in the TV series.
So the person you're fighting here, is this real time for him as well?
Well, I mean, he might have given up because he couldn't get past my Rey. He might have gone, this isn't worth my time. I'm going to lose anyway. I'm not going to bother. Because he has to get through both Leia and Rey, which are both very strong defensive teams. And he's probably just gone.
Right.
But we're doing it because he might, I suppose, in the next 50 minutes before this finishes, come back and attack once I finished. So we're going to do it to
given the fact that he's got an extra 10 from when we looked the last time.
Yeah. I crushed his hopes and dreams. It's pretty much that, Alex. I crushed his hopes and dreams, and now he's, yeah. So he's never going to turn up again. That's fine.
110 for 3.
After how many overs did the key go?
13.
So we're about 3 overs behind.
90 off 7.
Yeah, we're about 2 or 3 overs behind.
Morn, Ali, one of them.
Moeen's a good player, but
Can be.
we'll use Dr. Afra here, who's from a comic, actually. There she is, and her droids.
Best or who can, but often doesn't.
I can explain cricket to you. I can explain cricket. I don't know if I'm going to stream on Sunday because I'm we're taking my parents back to the train station, plane to the airport. But certainly, if not on Wednesday next week, I'll go on one speed from the last bit. Oh yeah, my dad could explain it too. Of course, he could explain cricket.
2 teams of 11.
Oh, he's going to explain now. There you go. How much time have you got?
Well, it's simple. 2 teams of 11. Depending on the type of game, you either have 2 turns at batting and 2 turns at bowling each, or you have 1 turn of batting and 1 turn of bowling each. And essentially, it's on 1 innings each. Whoever scores the most runs in a certain number of overs, overs being balls being 6 per over. Or in the 2 times, it's whoever basically scores the most or bowls the other team out the fastest. Simple.
Simple.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be a lot more aggressive and hostile than you'd necessarily attribute to a game of cricket.
How did you find baseball? That's true.
Baseball was interesting to go to in one sense to say I've been to a big sporting event in America. One thing I find fascinating about most American sports, fast bowling, where the fast bowler bowls fast and aims at the batsman's head.
You're allowed to aim. Well, you're not really allowed to aim people's heads anymore.
Not
You used to be
directly.
able
It's
to.
got to be bounced on the pitch, but sort of bounces up to go at the batsman's head. It's softer than it used to be because in the 70s and 80s, the West Indies had 5 fast bowlers who took turns to basically pitch the ball so it bounced and was aimed at the batsman's head, 5 balls out of 6 per over. Now you can only do it once Over.
You mean you can only aim at someone's head once per 6 balls? Oh, that's all. That's okay then.
Well, it's gone soft.
Not allowed any more. Yeah, it used to be in the 70s. You could do what you liked, basically.
Yeah, it was much more interesting.
Oh, what do you think? Darts?
And without helmets and as much padding and the like. But baseball, it was interesting. As I say, it ticked off a box being to a sort of important, big American sport. Fascinating how everything in America, like baseball, American football, even the hockey, I would guess that you talk about World Series as opposed to American Series. Um, but after 5 or 6 innings on the baseball, it becomes a bit meh.
Well, it didn't help that the Orioles, kind of stopped playing halfway through. That's what it felt like anyway. They just kind of like stopped.
Because they've beaten the Rays in the 2 or 3
The two previous
games.
games, yeah, they beat them in the two previous games, and it felt like
And
it was
they
like,
went,
yeah, they're like, okay, whatever, we're gonna win this, fine, whatever.
well, this was it. I'm trying to think, was it 1-0 or 2-0?
3.
3-0 up, and they just seemed to think, oh, we've got it won. Turned off, went home, had a cup of coffee, came back at the end and found the Rays had done them.
Yeah, they just kind of stopped playing for a while, which was a bit silly, quite frankly, but that's what they did. I don't know if this team's gonna win, but this is the last team we have to beat character-wise, and we just got chips after that. But we'll see how it goes. Basically, I have to get her below 100% health before I can kill anyone else. That's what Numania told me before. I didn't realize because of the way the special modifier is set up. Very annoying.
So why are you attacking them?
She's stealthed. So I can only attack her on certain turns. It's designed the team to be annoying. Basically. Well, no, you laugh, but it's like literally this team is designed to be annoying right now. So it's like, can we get through or not? I just gotta do enough damage to her. Can you imagine going to a game before the other? Yeah, because the game is a lot faster than it used to be. It's baseball.
Was this baseball, is it?
Yeah, baseball is a lot faster than it used to be.
God help us. If it was slower before, then no. If this is the speeded up version, no, I couldn't imagine going with beforehand. I said to Lawrence, it's my particular tendency, as it were, in the sense of I like more contact sports where there's a bit more aggression, not sort of over aggression, but
Oh, this team's not going to win this fight. Look at this.
yeah, but sort of natural sporting aggression. Like, for example, on the cricket, where the bowlers weren't restricted as to how they could bowl at the batsman, as long as it's a legitimate delivery, which bouncers, which are the ones that bounce and then are going up towards the batsman's head,
Yeah.
were legitimate and are legitimate deliveries. And from that point of view, the sense of baseball doesn't have enough of it for me. American football might be different.
It doesn't. It doesn't. American football, they've got some really clear rules on not injuring people.
Yeah, no,
Targeting, in particular.
but you can tackle hard.
You can tackle hard, but
It's not touch
it's
football.
so much more controlled than rugby, though. Just as a comparison, like rugby
Yeah.
is much just like whatever compared to this.
But in rugby, you're not allowed to tackle people off the ball. You are in American football.
No, you're not. You're not allowed to at all.
You'd be blocking them off.
No, and you don't have to touch them though. It's all about how you phrase it. You're not allowed to do. You can touch them in principle, but like it's like not.
No, American football is in what Americans think football is, as opposed to soccer. Yeah. But again, with football, it's going soft. Talking again from my experiences in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where if you think Messi is a fabulous player, whether he's playing in America or whether he's playing in Spain or for Argentina, go onto YouTube and look for videos of the likes of George Best because he used to do what Messi does, but he used to do it on essentially a mud bath pitch. I would imagine the contrast is if you looked at American football in the 70s and the pitches they played on in comparison to the pitches they play on now, it would be like chalk and cheese. A lot heavier, a lot muddier, a lot less even, which might or might not impact much on American football, but it's a huge impact on proper football. And from that point of view, George Best had Messi's skill on a really lousy pitch, and with tackles where the defenders were literally trying to take him out. And you had in the 60s and 70s nicknames for defenders like Chopper Harris, who played for Chelsea. You had Tommy Hardman Smith, who played for Liverpool. You had football nicknames. Norman Bites Your Legs Hunter, who played for Leeds. And the Bite Your Legs and the Hard Man and the Chopper of the nicknames were tendencies to how they played football. But George Best could do what Messi does,
Indeed. One or the other.
in his prime, on a pitch like that, against defenders like that. And it was a much more interesting game.
Evening, afternoon, Zach. There's Zach. Zach lives down in Ohio, or across in Ohio, I should say. Down in Ohio, across in Ohio.
But as I say, for me, it's easy to say in the sense of, oh, he did this, this, and this. But go onto the likes of YouTube and you'll find...
Yeah, his farmer friend, yeah. Yeah, I'm struggling to find a way to get around her, which is very annoying right now, but we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I have any very, very cool ways to get around this right now. It's a bit annoying. I can't because she's stuffed.
Does she ever come back?
I can't remember kid enough to remember if she actually unstealths at any point. That's the problem. I actually can't remember what she does. The thing is, I don't use her as a character very often. She's from episode 9, which is part of the reason why I don't really know much about it, because episode 9 is like whatever to me. So
then you kill these two super fast and then go...
I need to get her under 100 health, and she's like that, which is not really very close to 100 health.
Yeah, but if you kill those two, doesn't that mean she's going to come out?
Nope. Unfortunately, that is not the way the game is working. Right? It's a bit annoying. I can't think of there is a way of getting around this. I wish I had Darth Vader still. They use Darth Vader in different teams. I was hoping she might unstealth like next turn. Yeah, no,
Does she unstealth when she attacks?
No, that's if she just attacked then. See, so I can't kill those two at all, which is just like, okay, great. So I need to find a team that... okay, I'm missiles back now, that's not going to help me. I'm preloading that team.
Top 10 goals, George Best. Not just top 10 goals. I'm guessing George Best.
Don't have any team that will get around that stuff.
There's one or two quite famous bits. Oop, Maureen Argue's out.
George Best.
Yeah.
How was your market, Zach? Let's try. We'll try a couple more teams and see if I can think of anything that'll work for this. But I don't know if I do have anything that'll work for this. Dark side. Sold a bunch of beats. That's really good. I mean, that didn't really help you much. I guess a little, but not a lot. Oh, that's good. I could do pre-flight. So basically, it's funny. So you guys are heading up tomorrow. Zach's father just turned up. Basically, he's gonna stay there with him now for the next few weeks.
Right.
So it's like a funny switch over. And it's like, oh, okay, that's how it is.
Well, where's he from?
Okay.
YouTube video, George Best showing rare skills and goals. El Beetle. Because he was effectively known as the fourth Beetle at the time.
Why are you not fuck? That's not working.
And also you can see the status of the pictures on that video as well.
You just called your prices a sale. That's a good way of doing it, Zach. Every day is a sale day. Yeah, I'm not sure I've got anything to beat this team.
So what happens then?
Well, we'll probably have just to wait to see whether they can beat me or not with the other characters that they have. I mean, the thing is, they might be able to get through my defense anyway, in which case it's down to points as to, you know, who did the different bits best. But yeah, I just don't have anything that really does. It's her. She keeps starting. I can't remember there's a good way of doing this, but I don't think I have the right team for this, unfortunately. Because I can do that kind of thing, but it rotates her down so slowly. Plus she heals, so she's deliberately designed with this modifier to be difficult. The games company don't really care though, I guess, sometimes.
But doesn't she just re-heal for a certain period?
No, see, this guy on the right here and the guy in the middle here both heal back up the whole team. Oop. There you go. So I can try and do it by like AoE damage, but I've got Rekka left. Oh, I've used Rekka already, I think. Maybe I don't. We'll see in a second. Rekka is from the Bad Batch. Who's from? He hasn't seen the Bad Batch stack.
Well, I didn't suggest it.
Obviously. Yeah, this is going nowhere really, this team. Okay, let's not even bother. We need to find a leader to go with the Bad Batch though. It's when you've got like 5 attacks so far. And he's attacked no more though. So far. Let's see.
So how many?
I mean, I can go as often as I want if I've got characters left. But after a while, you start getting to really low-level characters that don't really do very much. So it's like, after a while, you know, I need a light side leader, I guess. Who can...
So who's the Rekka?
So Rekka is this guy from the Bad Batch. He's one of the clones.
Right.
And, I mean, without massively explaining all about the Bad Batch TV series, he basically... The clones in that are special clones. Not like your traditional clones are all identical, hence the name clone, right? But these ones are non-identical clones. For example, Rekka is designed more about strength and so on. So he's a little different. Trying to work out if they have any teams that can work as like a group together here. Mando.
Just need 72 in 4 overs.
Is that all? 72 and 4 overs. Really? That's nothing at all. No, it's Cody.
Especially when you got 5 wickets down.
Cody. Have I been a good host? Says Alexia. Leading question.
They'll plead the third.
Wow.
Yes, is the simple answer. We've been to some interesting places, and I also like visiting places for the first time.
Sorry, just Zach's suggestions gone well here so far. I think he's already dead. So yeah, what was I like as a young redcoat? Yeah, we're completely screwed here. I don't know. I don't really have anything for this, so I think we are done for pretty much. Who's pouring to drink water? Yeah. But yeah, Zach says, what was I like when I was younger?
He wouldn't want to hear, and you wouldn't want to hear.
Probably.
For differing reasons.
Also, probably. Yeah, that's it. Okay. That's not worry. We're not going to get through this. No. This team here is 2-0. I've done 7 times already. It's like we're not going to get anywhere with that.
So can you not stick in a Rekka or something? Or...
I did put Rekka in. He died straight away because I didn't have the right team to put him in.
Right.
But basically, I think he's done for anyway because I don't think he can beat my defense.
So who wins, or how do you decide all
Well,
what happens?
in approximately, what's the load? Eventually, 36 minutes, they'll end the round, and whoever's got the most points wins. So at the minute, we have 1,200 and he has 170. He would have to either beat this incredibly cleanly and some of these teams, probably this
So
team.
is that suggesting he's got past your first one and it's just on the second defence team?
Yeah, so what he's done is he's beaten 3 of the 5 on this side.
Oh, 3 and 5, right.
Yeah, that's up there. But he hasn't touched any of the top yet. So, I mean, I could do the maths out and, like, I can very quickly do this. Because you've got, like, he's already scored 170. And then these are ships, so there's 3 ship battles. He gets 219 for winning the whole zone, so it's like 219. And then say he gets, let's say he gets 70 points for each win for the ships. We'll be ambitious, we'll be nice. That's 210. Okay, so he gets 599 at this point. Then if he wins this zone, so he gets 260 for winning the zone. And then it's 5 matches, times say 55 on average. So he's still 100 points short. So he actually needs to beat at least one of probably both of these 2 teams as well to get my points. So mathematically, it kind of suggests that we've won.
So is that the maximum points you've got? Do you do the same for you as well?
Well, what I need to do is, if I could, I would beat him and then beat the ships, and I would get up to the max is about 2,000. But I can't beat the one team he left on defense. But because of that, my own defense is strong enough that he can't beat that. So it's the tactical element, I suppose, of the game. Like you try and set things that he can't do, and set things that you can do, and so on. It's true. If you drink just alcohol, that's bad for you. But yeah. So it looks like, especially my mother, because she's messaging to say they've just finished crafting.
Right.
Sometimes can't get a 5 minutes peace. But yeah, so that should be a win, which is great because we'll get a bunch of crystals. Yeah, they're downstairs crafting.
Whatever that is.
Whatever, yeah, it's true. Whatever that is, I don't really know. But yeah, we should win that one. That'd be really nice. He did get the better end of it, yes, I'm pretty sure. And weapons or armor, the crafting. What kind of crafting? Probably more like armor, I suppose. Which will put us. It'll put us close to the top league, but not quite. We still need to win like 3 more matches to get to the top league. But we're doing okay, all things considered.
Assuming nobody else does anything?
No, you just have to get over that score to be in the top league. Basically, bracket anybody over that point score in the top, and then in each division below. I guess the more. So we're currently what's it loads? I don't know what rank we are down. We're like thousands down. Where are we down? We'll eventually catch us up. There we go. We're like 6,800 and something. We're around this bit here, which is not bad, I suppose. All things. Thanks, Nime. Good to see you. Hopefully it's a win, and thank you for seeing you, Nime. And I guess the other cool thing is that in my guild I'm 8th out of all the people, so you can see all their scores of the people who are in my group with me. So there's a couple at the top there, but most of us are in the middle bit there. But yeah, so looks like a win, even with distraction, even with stories of episode 5 and Newcastle. Looks like it should be okay, I think.
I did know Luke was Darth Vader's son before they announced it.
You would have been a laugh a minute at parties if you kept telling everybody that. Did you know I predicted that Luke would be Darth Vader's son?
Halfway through the film.
Well,
not exactly halfway.
Well, hopefully you didn't tell the people who were there, because, Really?
Yep.
Why?
Well, if you say it afterwards, nobody's going to believe you.
Yeah, but you just... It's true, his name does mean Darth Father. But my father's not the best at languages, though, outside of English, so...
I can speak multiple languages.
Such as?
Name one.
Spanish?
See?
Oh, goodness me. One word of Spanish.
No.
Okay, okay. We're doing this now. Okay, that's fine.
Senor. I
Anyway,
failed my Spanish O level, I'll have you believe.
they don't know what a no level is. You said, by the way, I failed some random example of something that, yeah, that, you
Oh, yeah? Yes?
I think Zach was more laughing at the whole way you were doing the Spanish thing just before. That's his level of that's his comedy level. I think exactly there, like that exact like plateau of just like
Name another language?
GDC. Now I'm gonna try and find like the most like out of the way one. Get it? Text messages. Geez, that yeah, thanks. Swahili, yeah, there you go, Swahili.
Swahili, okay. Kenya.
Really? Did you just name a country?
Check it.
No, we'll not check that because
Your granddad was in Kenya and they spoke Swahili, and there was also debate as to whether the name of the country was Kenya or Kenya. It was Kenya after the name of the leader at the time, who was Kenyatta. And in Kenya, they spoke Swahili. So if I can say Kenya, any more in the world languages? Can't speak. What's it from Star Trek?
I don't know.
Klingon.
Well, there's multiple languages in Star Trek One. You know, I'm one or two languages. Uh, Klingon, yes. Well, on that exciting
Nice to meet you all.
that way.
That way.
That's the text. That's the camera.
I know, but all this technology in one space, I just can't take it.
Ah, dear.
Ciao. Another language.
Thank you all for coming along, be it Alexia, Zach. Sorry you called him at the end, Zach. Numania, Vernon, Bebby, Micey, Adam as well.
And anybody who wasn't here at the end.
Well, anyone who was watching but didn't say anything wrong, because that, you know,
Arrivederci.
thank you all. And have a really, really.
Arrivederci.
I don't know if I'll be streaming tomorrow night because I'll be taking to the plane, so I don't know about that yet. But I will be back at some point early next week. Otherwise, if not, that's okay. But thank you very much. Have a really safe rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you guys all later. So time to go back to farming. Yeah, sorry, Zach.
So is it now time to paint fences?
Something like that.
Right.
Bye for now, guys.
Bye.